Doctor Strange 2 is now in theaters, and a lot of fans had a lot of questions about the film, as well as the most important one, is Wanda dead? Throughout this video, we're answering some of those questions, as well how the movie set up the future of the MCM and now becoming the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse. So let's start with the first question, which is why you click the thumbnail. Why does Strange have a third eye at the end of the movie? And what caused this? So as we know, Strange arrived in a reality where this sinister Strange is corrupted by the Darkhold. He says the following: the Darkhold exacts a heavy toll, something that Thanos says as well.
They extracts a heavy toll.
During this conversation, Strange asks how much of a heavier toll is there left. Sinister Strange explained that it's not in reality, but is on his reader. This can be the third eye that he has. The Darkhold corrupts who he reads that. Well, going from the film, we know that Doctor Strange, after defeating Sinister Strange, used the Darkhold to go into the reality, 616 reality, which sounds so nice to say, as from the comics, where he'd go ahead and use the dream walking to move into his body that we saw at the beginning of the film, Defender Strange. By taking that zombie body, he's able to go ahead and help America Chavez. Going from what we can understand, by using the Darkhold as he did, this corrupt him. This is why he has the third eye. Now this connects to the post-credit scene where we see the character of Clea asking for his help with the Incursions. So this is a big question. What are Incursions? Well, Incursions are an event in Marvel Comics. The Incursions happen when the universe of two realities collide, or two universes. The resulting destruction causes a lot of damage and loss of life, something that we saw when the character of Reed Richards explained this to Doctor Strange. I'm so happy. It sounds really comic, like Richards talking to Doctor Strange. This blows my mind that we're seeing this in their Marvel films. So continuing, there are beings that travel to other realities and try to destroy them before they collide. We see entities that want to use incursions for their ends, like the Beyonders, and there are other beings that want to stop the destruction caused by the incursions. So this is huge because they set up so many things like Secret Wars, and these incursions are so important in the comics that is amazing how they introduce it here. So what caused an incursion in the MCU? Well, going from what we understand, when one being travels the multiverse from one to the next, by being there, it affects the stability of the universe. This is something that Reed Richards says. While this happens, this creates an incursions where the boundaries of two universes come crashing down. Now, what happens in the MCU when one being, in this case, used the dream walking? This is what destroys reality, like what we see in the film. Now, the dream walking spell allows one to travel the universe of the multiverse, and dream walking, as we can see, is taking control of another person's body across the multiverse using the GPS that we see in the thumbnail or here, which is something that is really interesting because you can go to any universe or many location in the multiverse, and there's so many infinite worlds that you can go. Now a big question is, now that the Darkhold is destroyed, will this stop this from happening, the dream walking, as there's no more Darkhold? Well, from my understanding is that the Darkhold was destroyed. They don't say that the Darkhold Castle, which is where the original Darkhold was created. So across the multiverse, there's a high possibility that there's a Darkhold Castle that maybe or may not be destroyed. We don't know, as it was not really explained. But as he destroys the Darkhold Castle, doesn't mean that there are not going to be other ones. So that's a big thing to notice. Why Clea says he caused an incursion and he's going to help her fix it? Well, in which reality is this? This when she opens the dark dimension where Dormammu lives, and Dormammu is actually the uncle of Clea, as Clea's mother is Dormammu's sister. So that's awesome as well. So we're gonna see that in the film. So let's see who the villain is in the next film, because when Doctor Strange is talking to Sinister Strange, when Doctor Strange is talking to Sinister Strange, he says that who do you lost to? And that's a big question for the next film, which I'm cannot wait to see. Now, something that I want to go ahead and discuss is how Doctor Strange set up Fantastic Four. This is not a question per se, but I want to go ahead and talk about this theory. During the conversation where the Illuminati are talking to Doctor Strange, Reed Richards talked to Steven, where Steven mentions, didn't you shard in the 60s? It's so quick, but it's important in the MCU because it can go to different ways. From this line, we can understand that the Fantastic Four had existed in our MCU since the 60s, but something happened that they got lost, or two, that there's the Fantastic Four band that was the group formed in 1965. But still, it's really interesting because, as we know, going from the comic book issue, the Fantastic Four life story, we follow the team in the 60s, where the story begins actually with Kennedy being desperate on wanting a spacecraft, and they have failed, and they want Brit to build a spacecraft, and this is after the Russians were the first one to go to space. It's really interesting to see how it connects to the MCM. Okay, another question that I want to go ahead and answer is, why has America Chavez traveled the multiverse 72 times? When talking with Strange, she said she traveled the multiverse 72 times. How and why? Well, it's revealed to her that she got scared when she was little and she opened a portal. This portal took their moms from their world, the Utopian parallel, to another universe. This set up the next film and the story of America Chavez. But the question is, why there's only one America Chavez? Well, America Chavez is not from the multiverse. She lives in an utopian parallel that is a world that exists out of time. She's only one being, as their moms is as well one being. So in that reality, the utopian parallel is outside of time. So where is this is? So that's a big question, of course, and it's not explained in the film, but going from the comics is that explanation. But as well, it's so awesome that they're taking so many things from the comics in this film and added them to the explanation of how the multiverse works. One last question that I'm going to go ahead and answer, that is by Serve, who's actually left a comment in my video. He asked, I want to know how the comic universe 616 and the cinematic universe 616 are affected. Is there a larger cosmos of the multiverse out there, that we are only on the cinematic multiverse and there's a comic multiverse out there? Or they connect somehow or not? Well, there's two things to see this. Well, Marvel, as we know, they're taking the inspiration from the comics, the comic 616, and adding that to the Marvel films. That is what they're doing. Is there a bigger cosmic multiverse out there? Yes. There's the Omniverse. There's there's so many things. The Omniverse that is so crazy. So there's more than the multiverse. After the multiverse, there's the Omniverse. This is a 4-dimensional universe. Of course, it can connect. This is from science, but it can connect somehow. And it's just to say yes, that there's a possibility that it can connect to 616 from the comics and 616 from the film. It is the same one, but they're changing it for the films. And I show a picture of how the Omniverse works. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 multiverse, and one of them can be the 616 and from the comics, and one can be the 616 from the films. Now, the last thing I want to go ahead and discuss is Wanda dead. I don't believe she died, as we see a fire explosion coming from the Darkhold Castle. Maybe she was saved by Shaitan or someone else, as he mentioned Shaitan named the first demon, creator of the Scarlet Witch. My theory is that she's gonna wake up with memory loss. This happens in the comics. In the comics, in New Avengers issue 26, after the events of House of M, she's in a small village near Wonderwear Mountain. After the fallout, she's tracked by Clint Barton. They actually have a whole thing that they kiss and so on. So they spend the night together. It's crazy in the comics, but she says that she's being living with her aunt Agatha, her only relative. So this is part of her mind. When Clint goes to MC, there's no one there, but this connects as well to the future of the Young Avengers, where Wiccan and Speed, who are reincarnated into this world, into this reality, go and search for their mom, but she doesn't believe they're real. So there's so many things that happen, which I cannot wait to see how they go. But anyways, the final thing about this is that Wanda later is found in Latveria by Wiccan, and she has lost all her memories and powers, and during this time she's engaged to Victor Von Doom. So yeah, this is so awesome. There's so many things that they can go and do with the comics, so I don't doubt they're gonna go in the direction. But anyways, what are your thoughts? Leave in the comments below. Now, if you want to go ahead and check out my Doctor Strange breakdown, click here, as well as other suggestions on different videos in my channel. My name is Christian from BM Premiere, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye, one.